Hello besties! Today we are doing these cute Halloween shaker molds using UV resin. But before then, let me welcome you to our channel. Make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms under Misfit Makers and click that subscribe button so you can be notified of any new content. Check out our website and our Patreon as well. I'm going to get started with this little mold. It's actually like a coffee cup mold. I got it from Maple Street. All the supplies that I'm using will be listed in the description or in the supply list in our Patreon. I'm going to be adding a little bit of this glitter called Gentleman from Peachy Olive Glitters, and also adding some chunky glitter from Peachy Olive called Amok, and it's like a Halloween mix. Here I'm also using UV resin from the glitter guy, and we're gonna mix some more glitter. Like I said, I kind of jumped ahead, but here's the little concoction. I added more because more is more and more is best when it comes to glitter. So after we have it nice and mixed, we're gonna use it to outline the outside of our mold. So we're only gonna allow our resin to go up to that first little line in the cutout. I know it's hard to see. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna let it settle, and then I'm gonna do the same for the bat. I mixed a little bit more for the bat because the bat is a little bit bigger, about maybe 10-15 mLs. I added some glitter in the color Wednesday by Peachy Olive, and now I'm adding some glow powder from Backfist Customs, just a little scoop or 5 or 7, just to make it glow. I figured it's Halloweeny, let's make it glow. So again, I am repeating the process and just putting the resin in the outline of the cutout. If that makes any sense, you don't want it to overflow onto the actual bat. You just want to kind of outline it so you can get a nice little pink outline around your mold. Okay, let's go ahead and cure this under the UV light. Okay, so now that it's cured, we're going to mix a couple of concoctions here to fill up the backing of our mold. So for our little mini cauldron slash coffee cup, we're going to put some green in the color Kermit Wazowski and adding some green glow powder from Backfist to make it glow. So we're going to get that nice and mixed up, and then we're going to mix up for our bat. For our bat, I mixed up a little bit more, about 15 to 20 mLs of UV, and I'm adding some Lestrange glitter from Peachy Olive, and I'm going to mix it up nice and well. I also added a little drop of dispersion paint in the color black to make sure that it was nice and opaque. So after I got them nice and mixed, I'm going to go ahead and pour to the brim of my mold shaker. This time you're going to fill it all the way up. Let it settle, pop any bubbles with a lighter, making sure that every little nook and cranny is full on your mold. I used UV resin from the glitter guy, but you can use epoxy or fast setting epoxy or regular epoxy or any other UV, but for the purpose of this tutorial I used UV resin and it worked beautifully. So I went ahead and filled up my bat, and then we are going to cure it under the light. Okay, so now that it's cured under the light, we're going to go ahead and demold it. It is my favorite part. Look how cute my little cauldron coffee cup slash witch's brew came out, and the green part glows. And look at this little baddie, it's so cute. The pink part on the back glows. Okay, now for the tricky kind of part. So we are using shaker films from Maple Street Supply. I'll make sure to put them in the supply list or the description if you're watching on YouTube. But these little films will be what we use to cover up our mold so we can add the liquid in. So as you see, I traced it and then I left a little corner open right there. I actually did this twice because I decided to leave the corner on the bottom open, so I traced it twice, but it's the same process. So here I'm using my Sharpie to trace around my mold, making sure that I have enough of the shaker film to cover the opening, and then I'm going to cut it out and leave a little section on the bottom right there where I marked it. This is where my syringe is going to go in to be able to fill up the liquid inside. So do not worry about the Sharpie marks. We will be able to remove that. These little shaker films come with a protective sleeve, and you can peel them off, and then any scratches, any Sharpie marks will disappear. Here I am demonstrating how those peel up really nicely. Okay, so now the fun part, filling up our little shaker molds with all our favorite little trinkets and little clay pieces. All these clay pieces are from Maple Street Supply as well. I got some bones, some eyeballs, some little spaghetti, not spaghetti, confetti. Next, we have these little eyes. I figured they would look so cute. I'm going to go ahead and super glue those, make sure they are nice and adhered, and let them dry. And then I'm going to add some more little sprinkles and stars. And I found these little beads, little gold beads that I thought would look cute in the back. So just kind of fill it up, but don't overfill it because you want plenty of room for movement. Okay, so next I'm taking some UV with a little toothpick and just placing just a tiny bit around my edges. Be careful not to overfill, not to like over apply UV. You really just using it as an adhesive. So please don't be too heavy-handed when it comes to the UV resin. So just take your time, and we're going to do these for both of the molds. So after you have your UV resin all around your bat, you want to go ahead and line it up really good, making sure you get no UV on your actual shaker film. You don't want to get it dirty and smudged. So here I am using some tweezers so I could press down, and then my little UV lamp here just to kind of tack it. I'm going to do the same with my little coffee cauldron slash coffee cup, witch's brew. I don't know what to call it. It's just freaking adorable. So I'm going to do the same, adding the UV resin around and then placing my shaker film on top. I will say I tried to use super glue and it didn't work really well. It took forever to dry and my film was moving and it left a weird residue. I do not recommend it. 0 out of 0. So anyway, so after we got our shaker film on our shakers, I am using baby oil, but you can use whatever concoction you want. I've actually never used baby oil. I usually use glycerin and water or the Magic Flow, the Elmer's Glue Magic Flow or Magic, I don't know what it's called anymore. There's so much stuff out there. But today I wanted to try baby oil and it worked really well, but it was super messy and I had to continue to clean it with alcohol wipes just to keep my area nice and clean. So I went ahead and filled them both up to the brim. And now for the tricky part. You want to grab your UV with a toothpick and basically grab a glob of it and place it over the hole. And then immediately cure it so we can plug up that hole. But it takes about 2 or 3 minutes for it to completely solidify. But with that light right on it, spot curing it, it works really, really quick. So you kind of have to grab a glob, put it on there, cure it. So after all that, you want to clean it off really well with some alcohol because that baby oil is slick and it will repel any UV resin. So make sure you clean it off with some alcohol wipes. And then we are going to do a nice thick coat of UV over our whole mold, the whole parameter of it. You want to put a little bit more if you wanted to have that dome effect. So I did a nice good thick coat. After curing it, then I went with my painting. Sorry, it kind of just like went really quick. I wasn't expecting it. So I decided to hand paint some bubbling brew, kind of oozing out. I am using mostly pop of color and acrylic paints and just making little bubbles on the top and just kind of going with it. Be creative, use your imagination. I actually had to do this step twice. You guys already know I keep it real. The first time I did it, I really didn't like my bubbles. They were looking more like, I don't know, hair instead of bubbles, so I tried again. So here I am trying again, drawing my bubbles and then letting it dry, and then I'm going to use a paint marker to kind of accentuate or bring out the bubbles, the circles, and I'm using a black paint marker, and then I'm going to go in with the white and then kind of give it some little shiny bubble marks. I don't know what it's called. If you know what I mean, I'll just demonstrate. I kind of decorated my little cauldron or my cup on the bottoms just to kind of give it some dimension. And here I am doing kind of the same thing with my bubbles. I am happy with my bubbles. They look so cute. Now keep in mind, these little shaker molds can be just for fun to have on your desk, little trinkets. You can also make them into keychains, or you can make them into badge reels, or you can just leave them like this. They're super cute. They're just really fun to make. Here I am just giving my bat a couple of little extra touches using the same white paint marker, and just little embellishes to make it pop. Remember, our pink outline glows, so I think it'll look cute with the extra lines and dimension. So after your paint completely dries, you want to give it one final coat of UV resin. So here I am adding plenty of UV resin. I want it to dome over nice. So look how pretty it looks like after it's done. Like, I love it. So obviously I cured it after that last clip. I just ran out of time here. But look how cute it glows. And here I am kind of demonstrating the flow of the baby oil. Again, you do not have to use baby oil, but that's just what I had on hand. And I figured I'd give it a shot. But look how cute these turned out. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for your support, for your continuous support. We appreciate you. Make sure you click that subscribe button so you'll be notified of any videos, and we'll see you next week.